I'm going to break down how to do the perfect training session for children who are aged under 7 up to under 12. This is what we do at We Make Footballers, which is the best football coaching company in the world. We do it in 7 parts: arrival game, physical work, technical unopposed, technical semi-opposed, technical opposed. Then we're going to go into overload duels. That could be 3v2s, 4v3s, so on. And then we're going to finally end with just free play game. All right, I'm going to break down this training session that we're doing with our group this week. And it's all about introducing crossing to the group. Now, in the physical part of the session, we've got players down the right-hand side here. And you can see that there's hurdles and a ladder. And then on the left-hand side, we've got a queue of players, and then we've then got 3 cones in the box. Now, what we're gonna ask the player here to do is run over the hurdles, run through the ladder, and then as they get to the ladder, they're gonna call out one of the 3 colors. When they call out a color, the boys or girls on the left-hand side, they're in a pair, they're gonna race to that color. So now they're sprinting, these kids are getting hurdle work, coordination work through the speed ladder, but what we're doing is we're introducing the positions of the next practice. The kids unconsciously don't realize that they're being set up for the next practice. They're also being conditioned to unconsciously learn that they're making timing runs into the box. But right now they're just having fun, they're having races, and they're doing this physical work, which is important for their development. Next, we're now gonna go into technical unopposed. So the reason that we do unopposed work to start with is because when there's defenders, when you're learning technique, like crossing the ball, that's a lot for these young children to learn and think about and focus on. They don't need the stress and the cognitive load of defenders scaring them and giving them too much to think about. So in this exercise now, same concept as before. We've now got a coach though, you'll see the coach is there and they have a football. The player is gonna, on the right hand side, is gonna go through the hurdles, get through the ladder. At the point they reach the end of the ladder, that's now triggered the coach to play a pass into their path. The player who now is approaching the ball should be looking into the box, across the goal. We're teaching them to scan now. And what their job is to do is to call a color, the same as they did in the last exercise that they were introduced. And they're gonna say blue, red, or yellow. Now, obviously you can see that where they call the color, they now have to pass to. So we're teaching the child many techniques in this moment, how to arrive onto a moving ball. They're making a technical decision in that moment. Are they gonna control the ball and secure it more? Or are they gonna try and make a first time kick? For a lot of children who are being introduced to football, they need to take an extra touch to really ensure they have that security of the ball. Now, the other thing that they're learning is the extra scan that they've got to do, and they're now making a decision of where they want to aim to the ball. A lot of children, when they are thinking about putting the ball into a box and doing a cross action, they are just whacking it into a box, and their Sunday coach is often saying to them, get it in a box. But later on down the line, we want the player to become more precise. So let's start the cogs and getting the kids to think now at this young age. So we say yellow, and now they're gonna aim to try and get it there. And the next thing that we're doing is we're creating a connection between the player coming into the box and the player who's doing the cross. They're coordinating, which is necessary later on. The player who's arriving into the box, they're now thinking that they've got to think about the timing, because they've got to wait in their position as this necessary. They've got to look across at the player who's going to kick the ball, but they're not going to arrive into the box too early, because we want to make this game realistic and set them up for good habits for the future. So now they're thinking, they've now got to make a calculation to try and predict where the ball is going to go and they're going off the decision maker, who's the player who's going to do the kick. As the ball comes across, we give the player some conditions. If the ball is going to arrive on the blue cone or the red cone, that's outside the box. And right now, because they're all players just learning the game, we're going to ask them to take one touch before they strike. Whereas in the box, we're going to ask them to play first time. So these are the conditions set up now, technical unopposed, and there's loads of learning. And if you're working with a group who are very new to football, they might spend a long time on this. Whereas another group, we can move on to the next exercise, and we're going to introduce a defender now. You haven't mastered a technique until you can do it consistently in an opposed environment. So coaches, we need to get players opposed as quick as possible. Let's make it match realistic. So now technical semi-opposed is that we are bringing in a defender. We're going to help the attackers succeed. So we're going to have 2 attackers, 1 defender. We've removed the cones, same conditions apply. The player on the right hand side will get into a crossing position. The coach will set them the ball. We will encourage the player to look across, and they want to try and find the free attacker. So now we're asking the attackers to find space in the area, and the defender obviously to try and block the ball. But can the little kid, can the crosser find a way to get it to one of the free players? So that's now the next practice. We then move on, the next progression. We're now going into an opposed practice. We're going to cut off the right hand lane, and we're going to say that the player who's crossing can be in this and they can't get tackled by defenders. We're going to have 2 defenders now, and we're going to have 4 attacking players. So again, lots of opportunity, more success, more advantage to the attackers, because we're introducing this. We want to have a lot of success. Ball is going to get played into the group. It's the kids' decision if they want to solve the problem and think, oh, we've got a big advantage, let's play it out to the crosser in that boxed off area. We don't want to give them that clue beforehand. We want to let them discover that for themselves, because they have to learn to problem solve. They've got to work these things out for themselves. When they think of it as their idea, it will lock in their long-term memory. So we let them play, and we help them understand that the player that's in that one can't get tackled. Eventually, the ball is going to get to them, and they're going to remember the things that they've done in the previous exercises, and they're going to try and cross the ball. And we're hopefully going to find a free player, and we're hopefully going to get lots of goals. Then we're going to progress it into an overload. Now we're going to take away the cones down the right-hand side. Now we're going to just do a 4v3. We're going to play that, and we're going to hope that, again, they start understanding how they can get the ball into the wide area, and then they can find an attacker who's free. They can use that width of the pitch. And then we then do that for a little while, and we end them with a free game. Kids always want to end with freedom. Coaches, we need to be quiet. We need to just let them just apply all their fun and do whatever they want to do at this time. So this is how we introduce crossing to the children at We Make Footballers, and this is the structure of our training sessions. If you want to bring your child to our training, this is the sort of thing that you can expect with our teams and also at our holiday camps. We will be running this crossing training session at all of our holiday camps this February. So be sure to sign your children up if you've got a We Make Footballers in your area. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it helpful. But by the way, if you're a coach at a rival company, don't try and steal this exercise. I want you to ignore this video. Don't watch it. This is just for We Make Footballer coaches, please.